Hey everybody, it's me, Mike Vanderpool. I am the Visual Communication Graphic Design faculty member here at Northwest State Community College. I'm also a lifelong learner. That's one of the things I've realized in life why I'm a teacher is because I love to learn. So this vlog slash podcast slash whatever you want to call it, media experience is going to be me as I build out some new curriculum and develop some new initiatives here on campus as a way of kind of framing my own thoughts about education, what it means for education for us as we move forward into basically, the post-industrial, post-technological era, where it's less about the very specific individual things that you can do and more about the broader understanding of concepts and how those concepts interrelate. I fully believe that the future is going to be a place where the people who are able to communicate in multiple languages, and not foreign languages, but multiple the languages of multiple disciplines, including software and programming, and able to find connections and synergy between those things. Those are going to be the people that I truly believe are going to have the most opportunities for success in the future. And by future, I mean not just 5 years, I'm talking 10, 20 years down the road, as we move from a culture that relies heavily on labor of body to one that continues to move more and more and more towards labor of mind. That said, I want to start with one of the fundamental concepts that I think is important with any discussion is going to be clarification of language and what words mean, and the how words make people think with regards to multiple topics, but especially in the education space. So I don't want this first vlog to be too long here. So I'm going to stick with one distinction, but this will be something that comes up again and again and again as I work to clarify language. So as an example, one of the prime examples of in the education space where language matters and language is now causing, step back. Language is meant for us to effectively communicate. When there are double, triple, quadruple meanings for a single word, it adds confusion into that communication. And we have that now in education, specifically with the word course. Course is a word that means 15 weeks, 8 weeks. If you look at Udemy or some of these other things, some things that are 15 minutes long end up being called courses. So I'm not here to solve that problem today, but that's the bigger picture in education where I see language being an issue. What we call things should mean something specific enough for us to be able to remove that cognitive load of trying to figure out what somebody's saying. That portion of the cognitive load, clarity of the language, of the terms. Where I see this in my own classrooms, my own experience, online and face-to-face classrooms, is the terms teacher and student. Now, I don't know where these words came from, in all honesty. I'm not even going to get into that because that's not what's important to me. What is important is what those words imply, and as that relates to where we currently sit with pedagogy and the interactions of inside of a classroom. There's teacher, instructor, facilitator, all of those words sometimes used interchangeably, all meaning, for the most part, somebody who leads a learning experience or guides a learning experience, right? The sage on the stage and guide on the side, those two differences, where I think even the teacher instructor has the connotation that I'm going to do something to you, I am doing something to you, and the responsibility that I have in that is implied that it is more than I think it should be. Because I am not teaching you anything as my primary purpose in that classroom. In all disciplines, the true growth of individuals comes from learning. Even people who are at the top of their field still, I would argue, learn day after day after day. That's how they stay on top of their field. That's how they advance their fields. So in the classroom, I present myself to the students when they say, "You're the teacher." I shoot back and say, "No, I am a fellow learner." Because me, as some expert in the field, should be modeling what that field requires for success. And in every field I can think of, the requirement for success is that ability to continuously learn and grow. So I am a fellow learner. And as you ask me questions and I work to help you clarify your understanding, I'm going to approach that relationship, that exchange, as a fellow learner. Whether that term is lead learner, guide, facilitator seems to be a word used in corporate training, and even in active learning spaces, that idea of a facilitator. So I think that is a good word. I think that some of the problem is that word doesn't have enough authority, perhaps, for some people, where instructor and teacher does. So that's a place for us to have a conversation. I'm interested in hearing what you think about what we should call people who help guide others to understanding. Now, the other side of that coin, when it's presented as teacher and student, is the student. I try my darndest not to call the people in my classroom students, primarily because that implies that they are going to study. And that is not what they do, nor what they should be doing based on how we actually learn. Me as a teacher, them as a studier, puts most of the responsibility outside of the classroom. No, it puts all of the responsibility in the classroom on me if I'm the teacher. When I am with you, I am teaching you. And when you're outside of the classroom, you are studying. That's what those two words imply, if not explicitly state. So I do everything I can to refer to the people inside of my learning experience as learners. Therefore, the responsibility is on you. You are the learner. You are here to learn, not to study. Now, studying might be part of that, but studying is not the end. The end is to learn. So I think with regards to language, if we can stop calling students, or stop calling the people who are inside of our learning experiences, who are there for the most growth, we should be calling them learners. And I think that's how I'm going to approach a lot of this vlog, podcast, whatever, media, learning experience, is going to be with some level of specificity and thinking about language. Because it's that important, as I've hopefully just demonstrated, the difference between what a student is and what a learner is. If I ask somebody to draw those two things, I believe that they would be vastly different. So we're almost about 10 minutes. I'm going to try to keep these short, and I'm going to try to keep them repetitive and try to keep, doing everything I can to improve the discourse around education, what it is, and how we can just make the world a better place, right? That's all I think any of us really want, is for the opportunities for our children, grandchildren, and I think that all comes through a level of discourse And in the space of education, that is where we should be having those. We should be having those conversations everywhere, but I feel that is our duty implied by what education means, and we can get in that next time. And what education means to me, those are conversations that we should be having regularly. So, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. And if you'd like to follow or subscribe or do anything, you do you. I think there's a button somewhere that you can press to make that happen.